Welcome to the Fearfic Podcast. Fearfic is the term for short horror fiction, mostly posted on the web. It includes any and all related subgenres. Join three assholes talking basement goo Slimebeast, inebriated interstellar traveler Abysmii, and irritable ghostly man-horde Dead Palette, as they read all stories horror and internet-related, paragraph by paragraph, and bullshit while they do it. From adolescent revenge fantasies to subtle postmodern narratives about real-life events and everything in between, they read it and critique. You better believe it. Kick it to the cold open, white boy.
Do we know what POG actually stands for?
Fat ass white girl.
That's P-A-W-G, and I'm talking about P-O-G.
Person of genitalia.
It's a typo of P-O-D.
We are the POG Jam Nation.
We are no scoping newbies.
I think that, so for me personally, I always thought that it meant pull-out game.
I thought it meant play of the game.
Oh. Well,
apparently it originates from a brand of juice, of which the bottle caps of the juice were used to play POG.
Wait, which POG are we talking about? I thought we were talking about
we're talking about Twitch POGs.
Yeah.
Not Twitch POGs, P-A-W-G, P-O-G POGs.
Are there any PAWG POGs on Twitch? Because all I see are them skinny bitches.
Well, maybe you're just not looking hard enough. But I think that I got to imagine
I'm plenty hard when I'm looking. What are you talking about?
I got to imagine that POG stands for pull-out game, and if that's the case, then I would imagine that POGers stands for pull-out game gonna erupt ranch sauce.
I have no idea what the fuck you just said. You obscured
your
winning,
own son.
Say what?
Are you winning, son?
God damn it! All right, so what's our real cold open going to be?
No, that was great.
By the way, women on webcams, get out of the way of your cute friend. Just across the board.
Bring back titty streamers.
They never left. What are you
talking about?
I heard
Did you not just see a titty streamer get play of the game on the official Overwatch channel where it's just like...
Oh, that was not a titty streamer, not in my book.
That was a true pro gamer because she burped in the video.
You can tell that she was a pro because she was playing Zenyatta, and that's a thing that only men play.
What was she playing Zenyatta? I couldn't tell from the 0.5 seconds of gameplay where I could not tell what the fuck was happening. That was interspersed between, haha, I'm relatable.
We don't want to look too far into this because she plays both Zenyatta and Ana, which are two healers, which reinforces the stereotype that girls only play healers on Overwatch. We don't want to look into this.
Well, no. That's fine because they're they're damage-ready healers. They're not Mercy.
Yeah.
But no, if you haven't seen it on the Overwatch channel, please go look at it. They're running out of steam. It's funny how quickly it's happening and how much everyone called it, and people in the insular community are just like, no, it's fine. And they uploaded a video of a woman just getting play of the game by killing 3.5 people, and this is newsworthy now in Overwatch.
It's called
woman gets kills.
It's called like clutch moment or some shit, and the actual gaming moment is a fraction of the video, and the rest is just look at me, I'm a streamer. Which fine, just say featured streamer. Don't lie to everyone saying, like, look at this play of the game. I could not fucking tell what was happening in the video, because that's how spastic and shortcut the game footage is. Pissed me off.
You know what's funny, too, is there's so many writers in the community, like female writers writing fan fiction, female artists making all of this, like, great art, female cosplayers, women just contributing, and even, in the Overwatch League there are women. But...
Really?
Yes. Well, yeah, there's Gagari, and there's a few in the lower ranks as well. But they instead focus on this one woman who has nothing interesting to say and just got a few kills as Zenyatta. That's her claim to fame.
It's so tone deaf.
For everybody out there who hates our Overwatch discussion, this is something for you to be happy about because it means it'll be even more relevant pretty soon. and we won't have to talk about it anymore, and you won't have to listen about it.
I just cannot wait, because people on the Overwatch forums and everything are delusional in thinking that Overwatch 2 is going to, like, reinvigorate the game.
I totally forgot Overwatch 2 was a thing.
Yeah. Overwatch 2 is just... Overwatch 2 is the events that we used to get, the PvE events that they used to give us for free, with, like, workshop RPG mode. Which is like, you know, in the workshop, you can create your own game modes for Overwatch, and there's one called RPG where it's like, enter this circle to buy more shields. Enter this circle to buy more such and such, and you get like XP for kills and stuff. So it's like, basically taking what they were giving us for free and adding in, you know, a game mode that people made.
If I were working for Team 4 in the Overwatch team right now, I would be so thankful there's a pandemic going on, because it's like, oh, there's an excuse for us not doing anything.
Yeah.
Oh, I got some... Because they're like, no, I want this. I want Overwatch lore. I want more story and stuff. And it's like, okay, well, we were promised that 4 years ago? I'm confused as to why we're excited.
For everybody who doesn't know what Overwatch is or doesn't know anything about it, just think of, like... Jeff the Killer, Slenderman, Ben Drowned, you know, all the famous icons, if they had no story and were just the visuals. Because that's every Overwatch character.
Oh, no. You don't understand. Symmetra is autistic, even though there's nothing about, you know, her character or any of the signs of autism being expressed phenotypically or anything.
Yeah.
Nothing. Tracer's gay, which just means that her girlfriend is named Emily, and that doesn't come up anywhere else. Anyway.
Now wait a minute, don't forget Soldier 76 is gay.
He also is gay.
And don't forget Lucio is pansexual.
Did they confirm that?
I don't know. Who gives a fuck?
That's true.
Don't forget, Widowmaker has a dead husband. I don't know what that means for her, but there you go.
Well, that's why she's named Widowmaker. We're going to be reading Fleming Storage Unit Stories 26, Claws in Crates. If you don't know what the Fleming Storage Units are, okay.
Mm-hmm. If you don't know what the Overwatch, if you don't know what the fucking Fleming Storage Units are, picture Overwatch, but with
in Montana.
Units. Yeah, in Montana.
God damn it.
Now entering Haver.
So this is by Hello There, who also goes by Jethro Readings on Twitter, and we're gonna get right into this, gang. You're here about Unit 26, right? We opened it up a couple of days ago. This place seems to have been a magnet for crazies. So in all honesty, what you found in there was a relief compared to that stuff. The cop licked his lips, pink flesh running along the underside of his coarse-haired mustache. But I'm sure you'll get to what that in time, won't you?
I nodded, not saying anything. I've always been cautious around police officers, but had been more so in recent years. The news was too saturated with stories about the Trayvon Martins and Philando Castiles of the world for me not to consider the very real possibility that any cop would be a George Zimmerman waiting to strike.
2017, simpler times. Oh wait, no, there's absolutely nothing different. Okay, so, not that the man in front of me was particularly threatening. His green state police shirt bulged out with the force of his restrained gut. I feel personally attacked. On his chest was a brass badge reading Shirker, not Schmacko, Shirker, as in shirking your work, across an expanse of gluttonous breast, from the 7-pointed star of his office. When I'd walked into the small, cramped office that had, until recently, belonged to the custodian, he'd been absent-mindedly fiddling with a wedding ring that he'd set down on his desk.
So I think that the first paragraph is unnecessary, but as we've gone over many times, that's not necessarily the author's fault. That's maybe the person who ran the contest for fucking putting dumb rules in there.
Rule number 1, make an extraneous paragraph at the beginning of your story.
Yes, that was pretty much the rule that I put in place, is just make sure that there's a dumb paragraph at the beginning that doesn't mean anything. But the intro seems nice. It seems like it's this story will maybe have a message. I hope that we get some sort of payoff for the, dislike of police that our narrator has. I hope that comes to something, but the restrained gut thing, the description of the badge, all of those like nice little details feel nice.
Fuck the police coming straight out of storage.
The room was dimly lit by 4 fluorescent tubes. Oh god, flashbacks.
Uh-oh.
The back rooms, but it's just the storage units on the plasterboard ceiling.
Somebody should do that. Somebody should make like a wiki or something where a bunch of people write about like articles about separate storage units and what's in them. Somebody should do that.
Pretty crazy. One of them was flickering on and off with a soft plank. On the wall behind the broken swivel chair Shirker was slumped on was an odd corkboard or hosers, but with a couple of plain business cards and a Kittens and Puppies 2014 calendar flipped to December and left there. Oh, that's a nice detail.
Got to the end of the calendar, didn't replace it.
Yeah, it's cool. To the left of me, a blandly motivational poster was tacked onto the wall, hanging in a carefully quirky manner. There was a slight smell of old sweat in the room, masked ineffectually by the putrid stench of Febreze.
I like the idea where it says there's a blandly motivational poster. I like to think that it's just like a blank landscape with like a guy kind of just standing there looking at the camera, no expression, and it just says at the bottom,
do it.
Do stuff. Go ahead.
Do stuff.
Go ahead.
Go
Pull
for
the
it.
trigger.
Yeah. Pull the
I wanna
trigger.
fucking kill myself.
Okay, can we get an SCP or RPC that's a motivational poster that encourages suicide?
I want to fucking kill myself. It's such a good line.
It's wonderful.
We're talking
here.
about Smiling Friends for anybody who,
Go watch Smiling Friends. Get to the fucking series. Here, he murmured, handing me a labeled key without looking up at me, his attention fixed on the old cathode ray Dell on the plywood desk. Do you think you can find it yourself, or do you want me to come show you? His glassy eyes passed over the screen, set in pallid skin. He blinked, eyes closed for a second, and finally looked up at me.
Nah, I think I'll be alright, I replied. There was a short, uncomfortable silence. Hey, you got a wife? Oh,
It looked surprised.
our narrator's trying to, hook up with this cop.
Hey. He looked surprised at me for a moment before glancing back to the gold ring he had twisted around his finger. Oh, this? Ah, he chuckled. You?
Abysmii?
I just lost my place. Fuck, there we go. No, I said, I don't like women.
Okay, but you gotta read the story.
Ha! Neither, he guffawed graciously. Not that I'm queer or whatever.
I just hate women. I'm a misogynist too. Well, that's not what I meant. No, yeah, fuck lit. No.
Never mind.
Oh well. I felt a rush of anger run up my neck, but steadied myself. What was I expecting? Montana was Red Heartland, after all. Well, there, my name's Red Heartland. I thanked the deputy. My name's Red Heartland, and I'm running for governor. Now, do you hate queers? 'Cause if you do, I ain't for you. I'm queer as a $5 bill. Wait, no, $2 bill.
What's our currency again? Maybe I shouldn't be governor.
Why are you running in California?
My name's Red Heartland. I thanked the deputy and left the office, back out into the chill afternoon air of Haver. Here's a nice chunky paragraph for Brandon.
Big old chunker. Though the snow hadn't come yet, there had been a threatening chill in the October air. Then I'd stepped off the train, though I was used to the cold autumns, having only migrated west to Oregon. I had forgotten the bleakness of the world I was returning to. The train was uninterrupted, save for a brief stop in Spokane, Washington, at a platform with a broken vending machine, before the train started to wind its way around the night-shrouded majesty of the Rockies.
If this ends up in Satan Cock Station or whatever that was from fucking 2chan.
Well, I gotta say, though, this paragraph is just telling me an excellent... This is better geography from an artist that I know is a writer in the UK, not a native-born American. Mm-hmm. They have a better grasp on American geography than most Americans, so...
Yep. Well...
As we crossed the mountains, the pine forest of home were replaced with the bare prairies and empty fields of my past. I was sleepless as dawn broke over the gridded countryside. Kept awake by the vision of something with teeth in my dream, I stared out of the dirty train window at a world as hostile as my past there. This is really good. I have a great idea of who the character is, their place in the world. Perfect visuals, just an understanding of what Montana looks like, and an understanding of what, Oregon and everything. It's great. It's great.
Well, I have to disagree with you slightly because, where'd you say he's from, the UK?
Yeah.
Yeah, see, in America we have the freedom to be wrong in our stories, whereas in the UK he's afraid of being punished for getting details incorrect, so he had to research it, so... Yeah, you wrote a story with an incorrect statement in it.
Look, I've got the freedom to not read a geography textbook.
Yeah.
Well, I do know that there was a time that Sir Ian Fleming, the author of... Hey, Fleming, see? Hey.
Oh, I just got that.
Hey. Of the James Bond novels.
Of the James Bond Flemings.
Of the James Bond Fleming. No, was mad at himself for publishing a story where he got the size of bottles of Canalile alcohol wrong, where they were published, they had a different size of bottle one year, and he went back and did the research and was kicking himself that he got the wrong bottle size.
Just be American. We don't give a shit.
You got them 2 liters of Kahlua.
I climbed the Rocky Mountain and I got to the top and I planted my flag and the Sherpas helped me down back into Oklahoma and
Anyway, that's how I married the moon.
How I Married the Moon, coming to CBS this fall.
Oh, the tarmac.
Anybody watch Avatar?
Oh, anyway. Fuck off. Weeb shit.
The tarmac of the path passed underfoot as I walked towards the block of storage units containing number 26. Somewhere to my left, a mercury light flickered on in response to the setting sun and encroaching dark, lighting up the gray patches of discarded chewing gum on the floor beneath me. Someone on the other side of the lot was just closing up their own unit. I glanced at my watch and saw the white minute hand crawl past 5:30, half an hour left.
Oh, God damn it, another story full of timestamps. Fuck. The numbers beside me increased, sliding past as unstoppably as the years that had separated me from this place, and from what was inside the dark green metal door stenciled with the white, painted characters 26. I drew up to a stop beside it, and slotted the key into the old Yale padlock. I took a deep breath, closed my eyes, and turned it. Now, if it's a Yale padlock, does it go, ooh, when you put the key in, or what?
I'm part of Skull and Bones Club.
Oh. You've put the key inside of me. I guess I'll let you in.
A voice interrupted, calling out from beside the office. I took the key back out. You've got 10 minutes to vacate the premises. You are going to be out of time. I guess not, I sighed, turning to face her. The policewoman walked to me, her movements measured and masculine. She drew up close and held out her hand.
Masculine woman.
Hey, son, do you know what futanari means?
No. I want women who have dicks to be extremely feminine, and I want women with vaginas to be masculine.
Oh, okay.
Here's the thing, and I need to get this perfectly clear. You know the game 3-Card Monty?
Mm-hmm.
Where they move the queen around and you gotta spot the queen out of the 3 cards? I want people to be doing that with their genitals to me.
Shuffle your genitals.
You want them to have 3 sets of genitals and you want them to be constantly rotating?
Precisely. I just don't know. I don't want to know what's happening. I want to guess. Is it a penis? It's a vagina.
Ah! Ah! No!
I'll need the key back before you leave, sir. Gilroy, I assume? I queried as I dropped it into her palm. The key ring shone in the light of a speeding pickup truck. Officer Gilroy, she admonished, not unkindly, but with the tone of someone who had to make the correction too often. Sorry, yes, we spoke on the phone. Frank Hanton. Frank Hanlon?
Frank Hamhands.
Frank Hanlon. I offered my hand. She shook it once, her grip firm. It's nice to meet you, Mr. Hanlon. You should get going now, though. The units are open for the next 2 days. You found somewhere to stay?
Would you like to see my unit? She said. I nodded. Yes, officer. The Best Western on First Street. A fair walk, then, she mused. Maybe I'll join you. No, I'll let you get on your way. Good night, sir. Officer. Oh, wait, no. I thought he was correcting her. I thought he was being sassy. She says, good night, sir, and he's like, call me officer.
She walked off. Her black hair moved slightly by the cold wind that blew through the gates and into the compound. By my breath frosted in the air in front of me, and I turned the collar of my coat up as I walked back and onto Pollock Street. I found a curious kind of solitude walking alone in the road. The darkness and the cold had driven most people home, and though I did spot a couple of lonely souls drifting down the sidewalk, it did nothing to quell the sense of emptiness the town had. I think that towns do kind of get that feeling about them when they're not a city, especially if you're used to city life, which if this person lives in Oregon and they're gay, I'm going to assume that they're living in a, very populated city, probably like Portland or something.
Possibly.
I like
considering they're talking about police brutality, I got to assume that's the kind of person we're talking about.
I mean, okay, DP on the record, if you're in Portland, you're gay. Okay, anyway, moving on.
Well, I'm not qualifying that statement.
If the tube sock fits. Walking through Haver that evening was like walking through a memory.
Okay.
I hadn't been in the town for 15 years before that autumn night. I hadn't even returned when my dad died, instead arranging by phone to have what he owned dumped into the storage unit and what couldn't fit in there sold. It had been so long, though, and so much had changed.
Can anybody in these storage units have their own fucking stuff stored in the unit? Is it all family members?
Why would you, as a person, not be in the town and just have random shit in this random butt fun?
Butt fun? Goddamn butt fun, Haver.
Butt fun.
Welcome to Buttfuck, Montana.
I tried to censor myself and it just came out as butt fun.
It's our right to have a well-hung militia, and here in Buttfuck, Montana. I was roused from my reverie by a pang of hunger. Aside from an overpriced sandwich and a couple of chips on the train, I hadn't eaten a proper meal since leaving Portland. Near to the storage units was a small plaza with a couple of decent-looking restaurants, and, remembering it opening just around the time I'd left, I walked over and opened up the cold metal door of the Lantern Buffet. Not Inspector Moomoos? Oh my god.
Seating for one in the Twilight Zone. Table for one, please. As I asked as I entered, and the waiter, a bored-looking Asian guy, whoa, way to assume the ethnicity, about 19.
Why is he assuming the Asian guy is bored? That's rude.
How dare you assume my emotional state based on my face? Which is something I suffer from a lot, because I got some mad resting bitch face. Motioned towards me, a seat over the back of the restaurant. The inside of the place looked like it hadn't changed since it opened in 2002. Overhead, ugly, bright, fluorescent bulbs shone glassily out of the red lanterns, which, though made in China, were not at all traditional. On the wall, an oversized print of a Hokusai hung in a plastic frame at a hideous angle to the dirty, grouted lines on the tiled wall. The green vinyl creaked under me as I sat down. I like that it's a Chinese restaurant, presumably, but it has a Japanese painting on it.
Lol.
Yeah, I had to Google this. Looking up Hokusai, it's a an old-timey sort of clown with a giant dagger. So that's what that is.
Okay. No. Okay, comment down below if you believed what Slimebeast was saying.
It's a elephant dragon hybrid dressed in a basketball jersey, slam dunking.
Oh,
Yeah.
cool.
Oh, yeah, the traditional basketball slam dunker.
You want buffet? A young woman asked, coming over to me.
I saw the Hokusai. That means we're going to have a prosperous harvest.
The backboard broke, so it's going to be really bountiful.
A young woman asked, coming over to me with an iPhone in her hand, ready to take down my order. She was eager to get my choice, and her wide eyes stared at me while I examined the yellow laminated menu. After a while, I settled on an a la carte vegetarian katsu curry to keep it safe. With surprising speed, yet another waitress came out and delivered the meal to me. I deliberated over my noodles slowly, enjoying the surprisingly adequate taste. I heard a voice from the door.
Frank? Frank Hanlon? That cannot be you! I turned to face them. It was the king of Suma Beach. He kicked me several times and said, "Is it okay if I kill you?" I turned to face them. A short, plump, homely woman, blonde dye barely covering the gray, was striding purposefully towards my table, the door sliding shut behind her. Her arms were outstretched. I stood to hug her, still unsure of who she was. Boy, have we all been in that awkward situation?
Oh my god, I can't believe it's you. Whoa, oh my god, how have you been?
How have you been since the marriage, divorce. Illness,
death, transition?
That's what I want. I want someone from my past to come up and say, "Holy shit, I thought you died."
Yeah.
That's more interesting.
It's a drunk guy in a pickup truck pulling up and saying, "Whoa, I thought you died."
After the car crash I put you in for drunk driving.
Jesus Christ.
You know what? Me being drunk driving Sam and all.
Drunk driving Sam? That's the worst cereal mascot.
No, he's just a local in Haver, Montana. Everyone knows him. All the police know him. Drunk driving Sam.
No, fuck that. He's a serial mascot. And in the back of the box, this is like the little games you can play, the little like maze you can draw through, and it's drunk driving Sam trying to get to his car.
Through an empty parking lot, but it's a maze, yeah.
Oh, what if it's that'd be a good video game. A video game where you're drunk driving, but you're trying to avoid the police and you're trying to drive slow so you're safe, but you're also trying to go fast enough to where it looks like you're just a normal driver.
I want to say that's like a level in a Grand Theft Auto game or something.
Oh, it is! It straight up is. That's right. Okay.
God damn it.
Yeah. It's
but
good,
the story's very tactile. I like the notes of like mentioning a bunch of colors, the yellow laminated menu. Like it's very. We've all been in that restaurant, and they're just making it more real. You know, the banana. Oh, it's great to see you, I murmured. She pulled back and grinned at me. Audrey Allen?
Audrey! Oh, Mrs. Allen. She nodded and grinned, lips tight and broad across her lightly wrinkled face.
I'm sweaty.
I taught you English in 7th grade, remember? How are you? I shrugged. Weird to be back? Oh, you haven't come home since your dad's funeral? She said, frowning sympathetically. I shook my head. No, I didn't come back then.
I taught you English in 7th grade. So, non-native English speaker? No, I didn't come back. Her expression faltered, realizing the faux pas she'd made. Well, tell me anyway, she said, brushing it off like snow from her shoulder. What brings you back to little old Haver? I hear you went off to the city. The city. It's in fucking,
the one outside.
So you went to that city, huh?
Yeah.
You know, the city where 100% of the population is gay.
I would like to believe that the people of Haver think that there is one city outside of their tiny town, and like the world is just basically Haver, and then like the wilderness and nothing else.
The wilderness of endless roads that have Walmart delivery trucks on them.
Oof. Yeah, this storage unit business. Okay, anyway.
Oh, that poor man, she exclaimed quietly. looking down at the waxy surface of the table. Damn, just all with the textures and shit. She nodded her hands together and rested her chin on them.
So few of these stories, mine included, actually acknowledge the fact that a dude got murdered in the fucking storage units.
That's true.
It's kind of nice to see. It's refreshing.
In small town America, these things still matter. Twin Peaks or something. Have the police said anything about what happened to him? There's nothing on the Daily News about it. The Haver Daily News? I whispered to myself, mock reverently. God, I haven't thought about that in over a decade. They still print it? She nodded and smiled. Yep, every afternoon. There's one over there on the desk if you want to take a look. I glanced at the folded paper and shrugged. That's all right.
I glanced over at the paper on the table in the restaurant. It had been rolled up and was covered in smashed cockroaches.
Oh, that's not fair. Only half of the restaurants in Haver have a cockroach problem. There was a moment's quiet. The smell of chow mein wafted over as one of the staff slotted a new tray into the buffet. Motherfucker, I am hungry. Why didn't you come back? Mrs. Allen blurted. I glanced up at her, a flash of irritation passing briefly through me. I beg your pardon? I asked. I'm sorry, No, what did you ask? Well, why didn't you come home? I'm back now, I muttered.
Yes, but when your father... Her eyes were staring intently at me, whewy and prying. I stood up, leaving half my food untouched. It's been nice to see you again, I lied, finishing off my Coke and leaving 2 20s on the table. Really?
Got 2 20s and a bottle of Coke.
Those rich Portland gays.
I had 2 20s. Without looking back at her, I strode out of the restaurant and into the cool night air. That's very rude. That's extremely rude.
Well, I bet you were going to have it explained.
Well,
it's also rude to just be like, yeah, wow, you're a disrespectful son. And it's like, maybe it's none of your fucking business.
Oh, yeah, it's like, justify your life choices to me, person I haven't seen in 15 years.
Yeah, so I would do the same thing. It's like, hey, could you fuck off while I'm eating my chow mein or whatever? Or my vegetarian noodles?
Yeah, can we not talk about my deceased parent? Like, this is weird enough for me and shit.
Fucking elderly, why is it that they don't fully understand social norms? On the way to the motel, I stopped in at a liquor store. I'd not drunk since leaving Montana, but I reasoned, what the hell? When in Rome. So, Montana's full of drunks?
Montana militia!
Ooh.
Back in the room, half a bottle of vodka down.
Jesus.
Ooh, bud.
Damn.
Bud. I slumped against the side of the bed, staring at a single, slowly spinning fan on the undecorated ceiling. I let my mind wander. Through the open window, I could see the blinking red light of the old Lorraine transmitter beaming out signals into the nothingness. I relaxed into a sort of sleep. My father loomed in my dreams. Half-remembered memories and forgotten events drifted back.
He was a rug maker. Okay.
It's just like the movie where they curve bullets and there's a loom and it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah,
That's the name of the movie.
His dad is Tapestry Dave.
His dad is Tapestry Dave, yes.
God damn it. The sad end of Tapestry Dave.
Well, this is the second dream in the story. Both dreams have been mentioned very briefly, and the last one had a monster with teeth in it, or an entity with teeth, and it was very briefly mentioned, and we didn't touch on it. It's just kind of like the small detail.
Yeah, I think we were waiting for it to possibly pay off.
What if the thing about something having teeth was just kind of a non sequitur because his father just, had teeth? There's something in my dream with teeth. My dad.
There was a monster in my dream. It was my dad and his teeth.
Come here, son.
Once a few years ago, I flew into Salzburg, Austria at night. It was winter, and thick snow clouds hung in the air, pregnant with latent storms. Through the window, nothing could be seen save for the dark miasma of the weather and the flashes of the wingtips. Yet, somehow, there was some animal part of me that could feel the mountains beyond that could sense this colossal, immutable mass in the black night. It was with this same sense of untouchable magnitude that my father was present in my sleep, glimpsed images of things from my childhood, the empty open fields, the exclusion from school, worship at the Pentecostal church. Ah! Okay. Okay.
You know what I hate about this story?
What?
It's not giving us any opportunity to make fun of stupid shit in it.
Yeah.
I like how way back when we invented we didn't really invent, but we definitely exacerbated a father's homophobia.
Yeah.
Yes.
And in this one, it's just like, no, like there's a bunch of fucking homophobic pricks in the town I grew up in, and it's just laid out so well that we really can't do anything with it, which is fine.
Homophobic paternal pricks. Homophobic paternal pricks.
Run away from
Pentecostal
your hometown.
homophobes at a church. I do think that we are getting a very vivid image of who our narrator is. It seems like they're a somewhat wealthy, affluent gay man, presumably single and with a looming trauma from their childhood of just escaping that sort of lifestyle to find a self-actualized self in Portland, Oregon. And I really like that element of this story, but man, half a bottle of vodka, but don't do that.
Well, and we have immediate justification for why he just stood up and left in the middle of the conversation. Like, don't even need to ask anymore why he did that.
How would you
No,
feel?
it was sensible.
Yeah.
How would you feel if this was the backstory for Soldier 76?
This would be fine.
Yeah, that'd be fine.
More detail than anything we've gotten from the fucking billion-dollar game.
Remember Overwatch?
So, what is this now and who?
Can we just title this story? Can we just title this episode Soldier 76's backstory?
Yes.
The backstory from Soldier 76 that you've never heard. It is now Slimebeast's turn.
I grew up in Haver, Montana. And something else. Something in the living room. Teeth and claws. Ugly patched fur. Stitches. So something in the living room with teeth and claws and stitches and patched fur.
So, taxidermy.
Yeah, I was going to say taxidermy.
Yeah.
It lunged at me and I said, not on my watch. I've got you in my sights. I woke up, gasping with fear and still in my clothes from the previous day. I looked with disgust at the bottle in my hand. I peed into it and tossed it away, watching the vodka spill out and onto the dirty carpet. Crawling out of bed, I slept again.
Nope.
Crawling into bed, I slept again.
Out of bed.
I'm sleeping on the floor. Vodka cleans the carpet.
That probably would sanitize the carpet more than the people who work there.
Look, kids, vodka is healthy because alcohol is used to clean things as an astringent.
Correct.
Drink vodka.
Oh my god. Well, I guess we don't know the size of the bottle of vodka. If it's just a small fifth.
I think the implication is that they used to have a drinking problem and they probably have moved away from it, but coming back here has just stirred up all of their bad habits. So they kind of, alcoholics, when they fall off the wagon, they tend to fall hard. That's the impression I'm getting.
That's a good point. I guess that's not a world I come from, because I can just... Yeah. I don't. But jokes aside, none of us are actually alcoholics. But especially non-drinking.
My family has a history of alcoholism, so I've had family members who've exhibited all the symptoms, so I'm familiar with it. So that's the impression I'm getting. And it wasn't stated in the story, and it didn't need to be, but that is something, it's written in a way where you could infer that. You could kind of project that, and I think it does. It helps you add things to the story.
Abysmii's family has a history of alcoholism. Okay, let's go back to making fun of alcoholism in this story.
Ha ha, Abysmii's drunk again. Ha ha.
Ha ha.
Though the sun was bright the next day, the night's chill still clung in the morning. I winced at the sunlight walking along the street before turning and entering the office of the Fleming Storage Units. Sugar was at the desk already, playing with his wedding ring while reading a story about blue ponies on the Daily News website. He glanced up at me, a tired look in his eyes. 26. I nodded. Soldier 76 to you, sir.
Yeah.
Officer.
I nodded.
What if I add 50
Officer.
to this number arbitrarily to make it my name?
That's the origin story. After what I saw in that unit, I just had to add 50 arbitrarily. I'm not so fucking stupid, Brandon. What you just said is really dumb. I nodded tersely. There you go, he said, passing the key to me. He glanced up at my rumpled clothes and disheveled appearance. Fun night? No. I laughed once, a quick bark. Not much of that around here. You got your way? You know your way?
Fun night? Did you have a fun night of butt fucking?
It's nothing gay or anything, I'm sure, because you just hate women like me.
Yeah. Just a couple of good old misogynists.
Heterosexual misogynists fucking each other in the ass because there's no other option.
The best way to show your hate for women is to butt-fuck men.
Yes.
I nodded and left the room, pacing quickly to the locker. Without stopping to let myself chicken out again, I slotted the key into the padlock and pulled it off. The door slid easily up into the ceiling, and I flicked the fluorescent light on. A lot of fluorescent lights lately. I don't know what I was expecting. The unit was full of what you'd expect. Dusty boxes, old Christmas decorations, a couple of damp old chairs. I picked up the closest item to me. It was a green box with drawers. I pulled one open. Drawers, not like drawstrings, I think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Taking a cursory glance at the glass baubles inside.
The glass bubble baubles? I'll whip your ass at glass bubble bauble.
Yeah.
And Slimebeast, stained in character for this universe, walked in and said, "Hey! I'm gonna beat your ass at Bubble Bobble."
I'm gonna beat your glass at Bobble Bobble. Fuck.
I carefully placed it back on the shelving unit it had been placed upon.
There was really only one thing I was looking for as I opened up box after box. My old dildo.
Mr. Right.
Mr. Right? Oh, how long will he evade me? Glancing over the entirety of my father's life up until he was moved into the nursing home 4 years ago, 2 years before his death. Even then, I hadn't been able to come back and face him, instead arranging by phone for his worldly goods to be packed into boxes and stored here. You already told us this. Aha, I found a complaint. I knew that what I was looking for must have been here, though. The movers had called me about it. Photo albums, tools, ceramic ornaments, I passed them all. I knew my family history. My granddad had been born in Brooklyn, but settled down on a farm out west when he came back from the war. He was a soldier.
And he is the 76th soldier in his family.
Yes.
Breeding.
The discrimination he had suffered had been awful here. Jim Crow was still in place, to say nothing of the extrajudicial punishment inflicted on him for his skin color.
African American and gay in small town Haver. Woof.
That sounds like a reality show from TLC. African American and gay in small town Haver.
So, grandfather was black, so that's going to cause a problem for our Soldier 76 narrative.
That explains. Oh my god. They leaked one of the new voice lines for the summer update for Overwatch, and it's Soldier 76 saying, "I'm black." So that explains it.
No, it'd be funny if they're just like, there's another controversy on the world of Overwatch, and they're like, quick, we need to do something to show our diversity. Soldier's black. No, he's
Crickets.
not. No, he's been black all this time. What? In the last box I found it was filthy, covered in cobwebs and poorly preserved, but in its yellow glass eye, I could see the anger of my father and his father before him. The claws. Oh, it's the
taxidermied.
It's the Black Panther suit.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Black Panther skin for Soldier 76.
God damn it.
The claws were small, but I remember them. The teeth frozen in a less angry sneer than in my nightmares. And the thing was still there and still horrifying in its materialism.
Goddamn animals and their materialistic ways.
Goddamn atheist taxidermied animals.
Back here with animalistic dialectical materialism.
I'm going to write a article on Medium about materialism in the world of taxidermy.
Do you know there's people out there that treat animals like objects?
Disgusting.
I physically backed up from it when I saw it. Around the neck of the dog was a collar, and its dirty brass badge was still read Poppy.
So they misspelled puppy.
Well, they are from Montana.
That's true.
Maybe
There's
it's
my
just
puppy.
Maybe it's just a British thing. Oh, you got a puppy over there.
Boy. Oh, God.
I lost. What's that saying my friend always said in Britain? A
Don't
dog is not
touch your
just
willy, or you're gonna turn silly. That's...
Yep. No, it was a dog is not just for Christmas. If you have it last long enough, you can keep it through Boxing Day. I lost count of the number of times my dad told me the story of how he found her on the front lawn. He told me about the still potent smell of petrol from the long burnt-out cross driven into the earth. Oof. Later showing me the hole in the ground where it had been staked. He narrated, too, the stench of death, the noise of the frantic feasting flies, and finally finding Poppy on her back, her skin torn off of her, and laid neatly on the ground beside her. My granddad had a strange sense of how to educate his son. Rather than consoling him when he found him doubled over by Poppy, chest spattered with vomit, face streaked with tears, he made my 10-year-old dad help dig the grave where they dumped the skinless corpse. Then, over the course of a couple of days, he had Poppy stuffed as a reminder to my dad of the hate and evil of the world, but more importantly, to fight it and be proud of his identity.
I like it.
I like it.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a very powerful thing, and it's a very meaningful thing, and it's very well written. But I'm just thinking of the actual sequence of events of the skin happened to be perfectly intact, from people, who were obviously having no reason to be gentle and do things properly, and it being in quality enough to taxidermy it, and having the guy decide to taxidermy it as a reminder to his son that people are racist and evil.
Okay, so they skin they skin the dog, but who skins the dog? The KKK skins the dog, which I got to imagine if you have 10 to 15 KKK members, what are the chances that one of them is going to be a local taxidermy?
Okay.
rather high. So he would do a nice job. He's like, okay, we're going to send a message, but, I do have a craft, I do have a trade, so I got to make sure I do a good job here.
I can forgive alleged lacks of
racism.
Description.
Oh, sorry.
No. None of these holes you pointed out bother me whatsoever.
Right.
But
no, me neither.
I don't think they detract from the story at all.
It's not a big problem to me. It's just something where I read that and I go, okay, all right, If you,
I think
let me put it this way.
It's such a poetic idea.
Let me put it. It is very poetic and it is very moving and it's very powerful. But let me put it this way: take the racism out of it and have a story where somebody is being, stalked or hated by somebody in the neighborhood for unknown reasons, and they go out and they find the dog skinned with the pelt laid out perfectly next to it, and the father stuffs it as a reminder of how cruel the world is. Without the really moving part of it, it's a sequence of events that don't make sense.
You can do that to a lot of stories with a lot of things, though. Take Stephen King's It, and if you take out the apathy of the parents, you just have a bunch of kids in the sewer with a weird clown.
Nah.
Take out the really important part that is the foundation for all of this.
Nah.
I'm saying, much like a midget in a grocery store, you're reaching.
Okay. Well, everybody in the comments agrees with me, so okay, go ahead.
It was then an unforgivable betrayal to me when my dad flipped it around and showed me the ugly side of his prejudice to me. It had taken all of the courage I could muster to accept my sexuality, and even more to tell my father, who had all his life been a Pentecostal Christian. I had grown up with ways to deal with racism taught to me by my father, my granddad, and the leering, nightmarish face of Poppy, who stood by the fireplace in the lounge. I had no defense against homophobia, though, and when I told my dad, and he denied it, shouted at me, called me a faggot and a queer, and sought advice from the pastor about gay conversion therapy and how to get the devil out of me, I did the only thing I could do. I fled. As soon as I was out of school, I went to college in Portland and made a life there, a new life where I could be whatever I wanted.
Mm-hmm.
Damn.
That's great. I like the idea of, hey, this is the world, and this is, how we're going to navigate it. This is how we're going to keep you safe. We're going to teach you how to navigate a world where people are going to be racist towards you. And they give them all of these, defense mechanisms and ways to navigate. And then this thing happens, and they find out they're gay. They realize that's great. Now the thing that had always given them power, their family, is just stripped away from them and is no longer a safe place. That's the nature of horror.
I like that the object that they have made to be a reminder and kind of a stalwart guardian against racism is now warped by their own mistakes and their own prejudices into an object of terror, much like the Burning Cross, but now it's just an object that is haunting their son for other reasons. Like, it's unintended, and it shows the very cyclical, taut nature of hatred, that it can take many forms, and just because you think you're getting over your hatred for things doesn't mean that you are not also capable of it. This is really powerful. I like it a lot.
Yeah, the dog is sort of like representing more than just one thing. It's representing the idea of holding on to bad, I don't know a better way to say this, but like bad ideas, bad.
Yeah.
The dog represents, not burying something, not getting rid of, intolerance, getting rid of, past hurt, not getting rid of, different things.
I like the effigy kind of fetishistic nature of it as well. Like it's an object that the older generation put so much stock into and had such high hopes for, and it has this like a horrible unintended consequence. It's just great irony.
I wish that the dog's name had been Effigy, though, like from the beginning. It's like, oh no, our dog Effigy! Oh wait, hey, I got an idea.
Oh no, our graven idol. Okay, I'll finish this off. Still, though, the specter of my father's betrayal and the yellow-eyed threat of home haunted me. I ignored his calls, his letters, his urgent pleas that he could help me. All I wanted was an apology, but he couldn't see it. Even as the dementia worsened and he was taken into permanent care, I refused to come home. He died 2 years ago. Shaking my head, I closed up the box and stepped outside for a breather, shutting the door behind me and letting the tears flow down my face, unashamed. The police could have it all. I didn't need the past anymore.
Goodbye, we're letting go of it.
Yeah.
It's gone.
Getting rid of... refusing to repeat the cycle, which is very important.
And the dog's name is Poppy, which is sort of like Papa. I don't know.
Maybe there's something there. I don't know. But I do think that it's very interesting that this story wasn't focused on the unit barely at all. It was more about instead of digging up stuff from the past in the unit itself, they were digging up stuff from the past in the town of Haver.
Mm-hmm.
It's paced very well. Like,
yes.
I don't think any part of this was wasting our time.
And it's interesting to note that our story here has a monster. And I don't mean like, man is the most brutal monster of all. I literally mean the dog, the stuffed dog. It has a quote-unquote monster haunting the character's dreams and, in their past and everything that is still just something realistic from real life that's just atrocious to look at and monstrous, Whereas, in other words, it ticks the box of having something that is a monstrous creature. It's just that it's a, stuffed dog. So.
Whereas many other, I think, horror writers today would try to make the metaphor of homophobia and abusive pasts into like it's a weird creature that stalks me at night, which right. is fine. But this is somehow more powerful because it's an actual ugly like taxidermy. People have their different opinions on it. Bad taxidermy is fucking frightening. Mm-hmm. Like it's just a permanent reminder of this thing used to be alive and it's very clearly not anymore. And that's the imprint I get from this.
I would also say that the skin itself probably wasn't pristine. Yeah. It probably wasn't, a perfect job. I mean, they did murder the dog.
Right.
So even if they did perfectly skin it, it probably was patchy and disgusting, and it was a symbol to remind them of hate. And I do love that at the beginning, I don't know about you guys, but I had a concern about, mentioning Philando Castile and Trayvon Martin and that kind of stuff. And, is that, I don't have a problem with that. I'm just wondering, is it going to pay off?
Totally does.
Totally does.
Yeah.
It was all leading somewhere. The police that were already in the unit were utilized to a great effect. Mm-hmm. It's perfect.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a lot of stories. You get jaded from reading so many things where it would be like, I was worried about becoming another victim to a Jeffrey Dahmer type. Blah, 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 gruesome detail about how Jeffrey Dahmer killed people, and you're like, okay, that doesn't really serve the story, though. You're just kind of being a little bit just shocking and, exploitative. But this actually, did bring that in. I did think it was kind of, one negative I will say about the story is I don't know why, the author had to put in that the dog was giving a thumbs up. That just kind of killed.
And we're back.
That just kind of killed the horror for me. I don't know. Why is the dog giving an okay symbol?
No. Anyway, really good work. Hello there. Fantastic story.
And this has been posted to toospooky.com. Too spooky for all your, stuff.
Two spooks news. Moop, moop. Get your vegetarian noodles.
Okay, we can't end another episode. We've ended so many episodes with you two just going doop 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 doop. We can't do that again.
Big country dogs.
No!
Big country dogs.
That doesn't make any sense.
Big country dogs.
Big country cross.
Put it in your neighbor's yard. Oh, Jesus. All right, I'm Killer Klansman from Outer Texas.
Outer Texas.
This has been the Fear Fiction Podcast. Your hosts are Abysmii, Dead Palette, and Slimebeast. Music by Abysmii. Art by C.F. Comer. Voiceover by Atticus Jackson. Edited by Elias the Intern. Subscribe to Fearfic on YouTube to stay up to date on new episodes.
Here, in Siberian Village, we have tale like on your free internet websites. Is good tale our tale. We tell children listen. There once was cabbage factory before war. Our cabbage factory made cabbage pierogies for all comrades on Krasnoyarsk front. The People's Cabbage Factory was bombed in war, and lack of cabbage strength hurt Mother Russia. We lost. But cabbage reserves fermented. Then family of bears move in. Bears eat caffeinated cabbage and suffer radiation poisoning. Bears become angry, no longer hibernate. One day, RT journalist goes to do Putin's great work in reporting the war. Journalist walks into cabbage bear factory. No one knows about bears. Whole building smells of cabbage fighters from long ago. Journalist photographs rooms. Cabbage laboratory, cabbage atrium, cabbage cannery, cabbage lounge, cabbage cafeteria, cabbage hotel soupbox, and unisex bathroom. But when he photographed cabbage sauna, he found dried bloody bear skins. He camped in all-purpose cabbage room, but heard scary sound at night. When he awoke, he was mauled by skinless cabbage bear family. But turns out he was working for foreign government, was enemy of state. Comrade bears are heroes of Russian people. Putin honors with badge of Russian Federation presidential certificate. This is most popular creepypasta about Russia. Hero cabbage bears.
Well, if you watched the last episode, if you listened to the last episode of the Fear Fiction Podcast here on YouTube or Newgrounds, you may have heard us reference Rick and Morty. I want to do an anti-plug. And I want to not recommend Solar Opposites. Have you guys heard of Solar Opposites?
Heard it, have not watched it because no, I'm good.
DP, have you heard of Solar Opposites?
Is that the spin-off show?
Yeah,
Not
it's
even
Not spin-off, but
it might as well
the copy,
be,
the carbon copy. Yeah.
It's Rick and Morty copied and pasted, essentially. Sort of.
Justin Roiland making Rick and Morty without Dan Harmon's input. Really, that's it.
And it sucks. I mean, if you think Rick and Morty season 3 is bad, watch Solar Opposites. See how long it takes before you turn off the episode and you don't watch anymore.
Is it like?
It's fucking Rick and Morty. It's fucking Rick and Morty.
Just the same humor, the same episode structure, the same kind of
exactly
MO.
Right, and it's the nihilistic anti-comedy type shit, and a cantankerous scientist and his effeminate sidekick.
Wait, really?
Yeah, they're aliens this time though. And they have
it's almost like
family
a universe.
Yeah, I mean it's like interdimensional cable, but one of the shows that wasn't interesting on interdimensional cable. You'd rather see ball fondlers, to be honest.
I'm gonna make a counter plug to your anti plug to reinforce it. Go watch the first episode of YOLO Crystal Fantasy on Adult Swim.
No. I don't want that phrase in my history on the internet.
It's made by
Crystal Fantasy.
Put it in your wife's vagina. No, it's made by one half of the people who made Smiling Friends, and it's actually really good. So go check that shit out.
Okay, YOLO Crystal Fantasy, by the way, sounds like a garage band from a trailer park, maybe?
Kind of the point.
Oh, okay.